Welcome out there in Na'aleh Land. We continue. Honorable mention, last time we spoke about the destructive emotion of hatred. Now this will perhaps shock you. Today I'm going to speak about the virtue of hatred. There's not too many virtuous aspects to hatred, and we explained last time how it can just be so destructive to yourself, not just the person who's the victim of the hatred. But there is a virtue to hatred in the following way, which we're going to expand upon today. And the last thing I want you to do is walk away from this talk thinking that I'm telling you that hatred is a good thing, when we know the fact of the matter is the temple was destroyed because of baseless hatred, and we suffer from this day because of that. No. But we're going to say there are times that hatred could be appropriate, which we're going to begin discussing today. You read about in the papers, see in the media, what I call almost too much love. I cannot put it as supremely as Diana Ross did. Is love, sweet love. I can't say it the way, I can't sing it the way she sang it. But I'm not sure if what the world needs now is more, love, sweet love, or too much love. And I'm going to give an example. At the time of the Iranian hostage crisis, when all those Americans were being held hostage in Iran, so there was a Reverend Lee on the West Coast who was on television all the time, and he said, and it's worth quoting, that he said, "We suffer." I'm sorry, I don't have the direct quote in front of me. Reverend Lee said, and his son was one of the hostages. "I do not hate Ayatollah. I understand why they're doing what they're doing because they believe this is their religious cause. I consider this misplaced love. To love someone who is harming you and taking innocent people, there's no that's the wrong emotion. To love when the reaction should have been hatred." And years ago, there was a woman who was murdered on the subway in New York City. And reporters ran to the parents, as they can only do in New York, and they put the microphone in the face and said, "What do you think about the fact that this person has murdered your daughter?" It happens that the girl and her parents were Jewish people, not observant. And the parents said the world is filled with too much animosity, too much hatred. We do not bear a grudge against a murderer of our daughter. That's a backwards emotion. Excuse me, something as evil as murder should not be reacted to with love and understanding. There has to be this is when it's appropriate, the emotion of hatred. Like it says in Koheles, there's a time to gather up, a time to build, a time to sing, a time to dance, there's a time to love, and there's also a time to hate. And that's what we're going to be discussing in this talk. Those of you who remember, there was, I don't remember exactly when it was, but I'm going to hazard it was in the early 1980s, very famous trial known as the Jogger trial. What happened was a young woman was jogging in Central Park. Youth caught this young woman. They abused her in their nefarious, perfidious way. They left her half dead. And later, if I'm not mistaken, I don't remember if she died or not, but they certainly abused her, I think, brain dead or dead. I don't remember that. But they apprehended these youth, and the Archbishop of New York said, Cardinal O'Connor, that Jesus certainly loves you, even though what you've done is inappropriate. But I don't consider this a very religious statement to make. Why would anyone want to love someone who's done something so horrifically horrible? That's what I call too much love. There is times that the reaction should be hatred for something which is evil, and that should be our reaction to evil, and not just love for anything which is totally homogenized without any distinction. The Archbishop, for those of you who are not familiar, the Archbishop of Paris is a Jew. Now, we cannot, influence papal elections, but it really would be cool to get our man into the Vatican. And he was or is a contender. Well, it'll take a while to get rid of this one. But in any event, the reason that this Archbishop is Jewish is by virtue of the fact, during the Holocaust, his parents placed him into a convent for till he could save being caught by the Nazis. After the war, his parents were murdered. The child converted to Catholicism, and then he became, I don't know exactly the order, a priest, a bishop, a cardinal, and now he's the Archbishop of Paris. So he's a very important figure in the Catholic Church. And there's an article in the Israeli newspaper, Yediot Achronot, which I'm going to translate for you, and it's called "An Open Letter to Our Brother, the Archbishop," written by a reporter named Eldad. And I'm going to quote what this reporter says. I'm just translating. "You have been quoted," this is what he's writing to the Archbishop, "you have been quoted in United Press Dispatch as saying that you bear no hatred for the Christians responsible for your mother's death. I must confess that I have not yet reached the sublime state of loving those who hate me. I do not know if your mother was one of those who shouted, "Vengeance, vengeance," upon entering the gas chamber, but it is very Jewish and very human to do so. I am undoubtedly a very great sinner to you and your creed, for I hate those who murdered my mother and my people. I simply hate them. May the God of Israel, who is a jealous and vengeful God, as well as a merciful and forgiving one, forgive me. And I think this reporter is quoted on the head. You don't want to react to the murder of one's parents with love. That is not the appropriate, the human, or what Judaism mandates is the appropriate reaction. And personally, I fear from those who love all the time. And I quote the well-known Medrash Shmuel, Kol merachim al achzari